All right, I'm going to click start now. Okay.
Do you see the attendees in the lobby? Definitely.
Okay, I think the people are starting to come. If you want to welcome them.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm not seeing the audience actually. What I see is just 3 of us actually from the panel. Okay, they won't show. Okay, all right. Thank you for joining this education series from Synoptic that we do on a regular basis for, to spread the awareness about the technology and platforms that are out there in the market, the leading platforms. So today's education series focuses on manufacturing industry vertical and the leading solutions that are available from Microsoft. So welcome to this education series. All right. To start with, my name is AK Nandwana. I go by AK, and I'm the VP for our business application practice at Synoptic. Been in the industry for 25 years, worked with most of the tier 1 business application platforms like SAP, Oracle, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, Microsoft Dynamics. I was also with Microsoft for 7 years between 2005 to 2012 in the same Dynamics business, taking care of the partner channels before I start this practice at Synoptic back in 2014. So I work with 500 plus customers in the different capacity. 70-80% of them happens to be in the manufacturing space. And I have Manoj with me today actually on this webinar. Manoj, you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hey, thanks, AK. I'm Manoj, working as a practice director at Synoptic for the last, I've been associated with Synoptic for the last 15 years. And since the last 2 decades, I have been into the IT business application side. And with Synoptic for the last decade, I've been working on implementation of ERP for various verticals and mainly involved with manufacturing and the distribution side. And in terms of implementation, almost over 60 to 70 implementation across the globe using the Microsoft platform. Thanks, Egi.
No, thank you, Manoj. All right, next slide. So, do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, so to start with the organization that we represent, Synoptic LLC, the company we represent, Synoptic is a 2+ decade into this system integration and managed application support. And so we are headquartered in Irvine, California, with around 1,100 plus employees globally, and worked with 2,000 different customers. There are 2 areas of our operations. So one is we have a managed services division that does everything from security to infrastructure management to your cloud migrations and whatnot. And then we have a division actually that we represent. Actually, that's a professional services division. So the services that we have, key services, are business applications that, of course, ERP, CRM, e-commerce platforms, and then you have ServiceNow actually more on the ITSM side or the ticket management side, and then we have custom app dev. Actually, we have good product engineering capabilities within the organization. So that's our another service, and then of course we do a lot of services around Microsoft platforms, periphery of Microsoft platforms, anything to do with the productivity, like your Office, Teams, real-time communications, SharePoint, and any other like popular technologies that you might have heard in the market today, actually. So that's our service portfolio. We are one of the leading gold certified partner with Microsoft, globally managed. We are also a Microsoft CSP provider and also Azure expert MSP, actually, which is more on the cloud expertise side. So that's a little bit about Synoptic. Moving forward, the agenda that we are trying to cover, we'll try to keep it light, but 3 or 4 key topics that we want to cover is, let's talk about the key business imperatives in the manufacturing industry, and then talk about how manufacturing, Microsoft Cloud for Manufacturing brings shop floor to the life, or your operations, manufacturing operations, to the life. The third topic is, a little bit about Microsoft expertise and how they build this whole cloud for manufacturing and what are different components. So we'll cover that part. And towards the end, how an experienced partner can help you reimagine your manufacturing, automation, actually, when you work with, experienced providers. So these are the 4 topics that we wanted to cover. Can you just go to the next slide, Manoj? Okay, all right. So I captured some statistics from the different sources, and some of them might look a little dated actually, but they are still relevant actually. What has happened is, particularly in the manufacturing space, like for the last 3 or 4 years, we went through this whole pandemic, COVID-19 or a pandemic, and it did few things actually. It has changed, the pattern in our labor force, actually, the way we hire people, the way we retain people, and how they operate today, actually, in terms of like remote operations versus like in office operations, like a hybrid work environment and all that. The second thing it did was this whole global supply chain disruption, actually, that happened. People were finding it very difficult, like businesses, particularly manufacturing, was finding it very difficult to, reach out to their, suppliers to make sure that, regular suppliers were struggling actually to get the people actually so they can continue the regular operations. And then all this, the logistics, and, we went through a lot of those challenges actually. So if you see that manufacturing, particularly today, is going through unprecedented changes, and what it has brought, to manufacturing and other businesses as well, other industry also, a lot of need for automation, saying that, hey, today we are so much people dependent, and sometime, during disruptions like what we have recently witnessed, actually, how do we bring more automation? So one is we keep our competitive advantage. We are agile enough actually to adjust our business model depending on the situation that we are in. And then the third thing is, of course, continuing the operations, actually, like faster time to market, having organization more, decision support system based more on the data and whatnot, actually. So if you look at some of the trends that are happening, like there's a lot of acceleration in the smart manufacturing, which means, people are adapting to a lot of automations or automation-based tools actually on their shop floor and whatnot. We're talking about data actually, which is again becoming very critical. So everybody's focusing on their data actually, and there is a humongous amount of data being generated in the business today, like on a daily basis. And of course, things like how do you support your teams remotely, actually, when you have situations like pandemic, actually, where people cannot show up in person and all that, right? So how do you shift to more kind of hybrid operation model, actually? So that's another trend. And of course, everything that you do, how do you build a lot of services around it, and like IoTs and all that, actually, so you can do more automation, actually. So with that, the trends that we are witnessing particularly, or the trends that, or the imperatives that we are witnessing, working with manufacturing. Can you go to the next slide, Manoj? The trends that we are witnessing is, one is there is a lot of focus on the customer centricity. That's most of the manufacturing organizations, focusing today. We are hearing our customers, manufacturing customers, talking about how do you cost effective, what are the cost effective ways to deliver the goods and services to our customer actually, and still being competitive and also continue to make some profits actually, and return profits within the organization without compromising on that. Third thing is, of course, faster time to market. How do you innovate faster? How do you bring those products to the market faster? And how do you keep changing with the shifting demands or the shifting buying patterns within the market and all that? So what is that agility that you need? Of course, I talked earlier about the data-driven business operations, where they are focusing on, hey, how I have so much of a customer data, so much of my supply chain data and operation data. How do I make more sense out of it and then make it more data-driven decision system actually, so I can be much more effective? So that's another trend. Operational agility, I already talked about, if the market conditions are shifting, how do we mold business so we are able to adapt to some of those changes faster than what it is today. And of course the global supply chain, saying that how do I take global markets and all that, and do I have enough tools and controls in place actually to take care of that. Now, all this, business imperatives or the challenges that manufacturing is facing, as I mentioned earlier, that it has kind of given rise to a lot of demand for the automation actually, where can we have a more like a cloud-based sort of intelligent platform actually that are sitting in the cloud. We don't need people to manage within the offices and whatnot. And at the same time, automate a lot of these operations actually, and to harness the power of data, to harness the the computing capacity that is available in the cloud actually. So with that, today, if you see in the market in terms of the very advanced cloud platforms, Microsoft is definitely leading the pack actually, though they are a little late start in the cloud space compared to the Salesforce and other providers out there actually. But today, if you look at Microsoft, they are one of the very leading platform actually in terms of the particularly in the manufacturing space. And this is because they've done tons of investments that we will talk in the subsequent slides actually. So to talk a little more about the manufacturing cloud, I'm inviting Manoj actually. Manoj, you want to just talk about next couple of slides?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, AK. So basically, as AK said, that like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, right? What Microsoft had more, it was playing into the on-premise, and there were a lot of real-time integration issues, automation issues. But in the last 5 to 6 years, Microsoft Cloud, they have done a lot of investment in order to provide that power to the manufacturing shop floor, right? And it can embed with the Windows, it can integrate with your e-commerce and different things. And the most important thing is that it has the most comprehensive set of compliances, right? Because as you transition to the cloud, and this is also our experience, that most of the entrepreneurs have issues as to how safe their data is, right? How protective it is. So, and then with this GDPR compliances, there are certain things that needs to be taken care, and Microsoft Cloud provides that. The second one is that it also provides a hybrid, right? Where certain locations where you don't have the internet, right? And the synchronization and all those things, but you need to keep the lights on. So Microsoft Cloud provides a hybrid cloud solution where you can run on-premise cloud version, synchronize, which provides you a predictable, safe, and secure performance in that edge. To add to it, it also is a platform which you can extend it to implement IoT, advanced analytics, the augmented reality, the security technologies, and the artificial intelligence. So the cloud version is a platform which can easily, where you can easily go ahead and implement these different technologies and build up an enterprise architect using the Microsoft Cloud. Most important thing that you have to see is that the investment and what Microsoft is like. If you see that it has already invested and or committed to invest almost 5 billion in IoT, and IoT is like day by day becoming more important to the manufacturers because they want real-time data, they want analytics and integration with the SCADA system, integration with the soft floor system, getting those data out. And it's not limited just to the shop floor, right? Even to the trucks and even to the carriers that are going, they want that real-time information to be available to them. And as I said, that this is more of a platform, a ecosystem where you can, one is be agile, build up an agile factory for the future, manage the supply chain resilience, customer engagement, digital innovation, workforce automation. These are the main missions and the main objectives behind the Microsoft Cloud, right? And the core of it is the data compliances, the data integrity, data security. So all these are inbuilt into the platform, and that platform consists of different products. Like you have the D365, which is more into your customer engagement, right? Like whether it is sales, marketing, right from a lead to a cash perspective, you can manage it through the CRM. Then you get into the field service part of it. There is also a project services for people who are into the professional services part of it. To add to that, you have the Microsoft ERP, which is either the Business Central or the FNO, which is tightly embedded with your Power Platform, like building up codeless Power Apps, building up codeless flows and flows between multiple systems. Like you can build it between your legacy system and your applications, and then the overall connection with the social media. So what you see over here is the product lines. These are basically the main vision, main components of the products, each of the products. And again, there are certain verticals, there are certain specialization which a lot of partners do, right? Like if you go for EDI, you would have a specific partner who is building that verticalized solution, or for market, for manufacturing also certain things. What Microsoft has done is build up an ecosystem where you can connect with your 3PL, you can connect with your independent software vendor, you can connect with the omni channels. What it does is that it builds up an ecosystem which is connected to your customer, to your partner, to your vendor, to your employee, to the field people, and to the different things that are there.
All right. So moving on, Microsoft Cloud manufacturing, differentiators. So one is like the few components that Manoj talked about. I think this is very important to understand. So Microsoft today, in terms of the cloud offering, they have three key clouds actually. So one is, they call it as a productivity cloud, typically your Office 365, Teams, Microsoft 365, and all that, what you need for the day-to-day productivity. And then you have a business application cloud actually, which, takes care of your business process automation, which they call it as a D365 as a platform. Okay, and that does right from your, like a lead generation or like a connecting with your customer, all the way to like, servicing that customer, getting the cash in actually the entire cycle, like, from lead to cash, or, quote to order, and those kind of things actually. So it takes care of your complete business processes. And then, of course, it has a data platform built into the same business application cloud, which is Microsoft's Power Platform Cloud. And the interesting part is the way Microsoft is moving, from the directions perspective, is there's a lot of these these functionalities or capabilities that they have created in either of this space, actually, be it a productivity cloud or a D365 business application cloud, or be it a Microsoft Azure cloud, which is like a normal cloud, right? Where you can just host stuff and, have servers and have your multiple applications, hosted there and whatnot, and manage from there. You can pick and choose some of these components based on your business needs, actually. So it's very, very modular and agile, actually. So I'll give a specific example. If you're in a manufacturing as well as in the services industry, so you can start with some components of a CRM where you do lead generations, get your customers in, you manage your customers through CRM space. Once it translates into customer, actually, then you can bring it to your ERP where you can do, the day-to-day customer revenue management and, and whatnot. It comes back actually once, goods and services are delivered. And if you have a field force actually where you are managing like some, service installations and whatnot, you can also have a component of a field service. If you are a more project-based manufacturing, actually, you can also have some kind of project automation where you can do, schedule your jobs and stuff like that. You can schedule your teams, perform those jobs, capture all the data right from the labor all the way to the actual other consumptions of the item and the services that is happening. And you can accurately report that back, actually. So you get a good automation on some of those processes. And then, of course, the third cloud, which I said is Microsoft Azure cloud, is where you can do some, like a periphery stuff, like, say, suppose you have a lot of automation in the factory where you are capturing some process data. Actually, if it's a, pharmaceutical or say a food manufacturing where your process parameters become very important, like your temperatures, pressures, and, how you run the batch, how much time you run the batch and whatnot. Then you can also have IoT actually using the cloud actually, and then some of those partner solutions you can bring together, or you have some third-party application that you're trying to integrate, which is very specific or unique to your business, say like a recipe management, formula management for, say, pharmaceutical industry, or it's a separate QS system. If you are in aerospace, there are some standards that you follow, how do you bring those systems in? So Microsoft Cloud, Microsoft has done this investment over a period of like 30, 40 years, and manufacturing seems to be one of their biggest, I would say a vertical today in terms of the revenue and the investments that they've done over a period of 40 plus years. So you have a modular system, one. Second thing, you have a state-of-art system actually where you can, pick and choose the components, and you can also bring third-party, like a very unique applications actually that are very fit to your business, right? So that's a second advantage. Third is they've been operating in the manufacturing space for a long now. So, sorry, for most of the industry, you'll get a lot of innovative solutions as a part of their whole cloud or the app source that they have actually, where you can go into a specific apps and then pick those apps actually that are very, very relevant to your business situation actually. So Microsoft is in a way one of the very, very leading platform today in terms of the clouds, and that's what Microsoft Manufacturing Cloud is all about actually. You want to go to the next slide, Manoj? All right, Manoj, you want to just, you're on mute.
Yeah, just continuing where AK had left, and this is where we have worked with a lot of our clients in terms to leverage this advantages or the capabilities of Microsoft Cloud. And these are some of the ways where we have helped out. Like one is transform your workforce, right? What does a transform means is increase the overall productivity, and increasing that overall productivity means that implementing an approval mechanism, removing the manual intervention, right? Automating it and using the Power Platform like Power Apps rather than going ahead and customizing the ERP. We identify the use cases and help the customers to build those Power Apps, which can be either just small self-service applications, right, to eradicate the manual operations, or build a complete flow between their application suite, and thereby automating this overall process in terms of approvals, productivity, and all those things. The second is with all these key components like the AI, AR, you get a lot of have a lot of use cases where you can unlock the innovations of this product that is there, and that is where we went ahead and implemented AR, right? That is an augmented reality. And one example I can give of that innovation is one of our customer had complete 50 to 60 technicians who on monthly basis used to go to the customer site, look at the equipments and try to provide them the technical support. And with the pandemic, the travel was restricted. So how do we overcome that part? And that is where the innovations comes out. So we partnered with Microsoft on implementing the Holo and integrated it with the CRM field service. And today the benefit customer is getting is most of the, like almost 70% of the technical support, the technician can do it remotely. And only in case of a critical situation or in a very bad situation, the technician has to travel to the customer location, right? And what it did, it provided a customer a new experience, a changed experience. And also for the client, it was more productive, more utilization of the resources. Cost and the revenue was a different thing that they were able to make. The third is more on building the agile factories, right? And with all this supply chain disruption, what it means is people are now doing advanced planning for the inventory, like building a robust MRP, demand forecasting. But then they are also we are also working with them to make their factories more smarter, right? Utilize this IoT, utilize the RFID, so that most of the picking and putting can be mainly automated, right? And then we have also helped the customers to have adopt to some part of the robotics and then integrated with the ERP so that the overall warehouse operations can be streamlined and it can be more agile. And as we said, that highly resilient supply chains, and with the help of this Power Automate and the different ISV partners that we are having, we have helped customers to connect with the 3PLs, with the trading partners, the customers, vendors, build the customer self-service, whereby there are real-time information shared across the ecosystem that are there. And most important is that engage customers in new ways, right? Like coming up with those dynamics omni-channels, whether it is the e-commerce, whether it is a bricks or mortars, whether it's a customer service, and also on the marketing omni-channels that we have helped the customers to build integrated with the CRM side of it. So one example I can give you is that previously the salesperson used to give a call to the customer, and then whatever call notes were there, they used to go into CRM, put it. What we did was implement an omni-channel telephonic system where it's tightly integrated with the CRM. They can make a call from the CRM, the recordings gets uploaded into the CRM, and that is how we have helped them to increase the productivity so that they can focus more on the business objectives and the key areas, and the technology and the platform can help them implement, automate, and increase the productivity part of it.
Right. All right. So we're towards the end of this conversation or presentation. Why it is important to have a very experienced partner in making sure that you have a right partner to deploy some of these clouds who's guiding you through the process. One is that any successful partner, the three things very important actually. So one is the expertise, I mean, are they the thought leader in your industry? That do they understand, where your particular industry vertical is going actually? So do they understand the business imperatives or not, right? So that's very important. So, and are there some best practices and some like better ways to do things actually, some kind of frameworks around that. So that's one very, important ingredient of a successful partner actually to deploy these clouds. The second very important factor is that, do you have does the partner have a capabilities or the alliances with some of these leading, platform providers like Microsoft and, Salesforce and whatnot, right? So you need to have those capabilities actually, from the alliances perspective and some technical capabilities around those platforms, right? And then third is, like what's the platform, like what is the platform that can support your life cycle? And when, a partner onboards you, as a customer, look at this whole envision, transform, evolve kind of thing actually, where they first envision, what's going on in your business and then come up with some kind of a roadmap or a blueprint for you actually for next 3 years, 5 years, based on where you want to be as a business actually, right? In terms of your growth plans and whatnot. And then, transform is more around, hey, we have a roadmap actually, and then what's the right path to, take actually without, focusing on working within those constraints about the cost and all that, which manufacturing is always challenged with. Like you don't have a splurge money actually where you can just go and spend on the technology or buy something, because, bottom lines are always challenged. It's very competitive environment. So you need a right partner who can work within those constraints and say, hey, we have a blueprint now. This is your technology roadmap actually, and this is how we can take you on this path actually in a certain a timely manner. And then once those technologies are deployed, then so I talked about envision, transform, and then I talk about evolve actually. So evolve is nothing but, hey, once technology is deployed, how is somebody is constantly supporting it without too much of an intervention, where it's like a more self-service, in a more kind of a self-service mode, and you have already deployed some technology, those are supported, and then there are improvements being suggested on an ongoing basis, saying that, hey, what are the the better ways to do things actually the way we are doing today. So constantly evolving that part actually. So I think these are very three very key ingredients of a successful partner. Manoj, you want to talk about some experiences and some, how we help some of the other clients actually? You're on mute again if you're talking.
Sorry. So thanks, AK. Before I go into how we have helped for the participants, there would be a poll that is coming up, and if you can just reply to that, it would be great. So adding to what AK said, that to this madness, we have a particular approach of envision, transform, and evolve, and how it has worked for us in our experiences. First of all is to work with the clients to understand what their business objectives are, right? What the customer voice is, and understanding a customer voice is really important for us. And in the past, some of the things that we have heard is that we do have a system that manages the sales order, but the problem is there is no automation when it comes to invoicing, right? Or there is no automation, like every month we have 10,000 SKUs, and I have 3 people who are manually entering it, right? Or the system data is coming from multiple systems, so my data is not like the true source of record. And that is where we work with the customer voice, and then we do an analysis with their key process owners, with their end users, try to understand where the problem is, what the root cause is, and then come up with a program objective. And these are whatever you're saying, some of those objectives that we lay down, like what is the target goal to increase the productivity. So it can be, it was 30%. And then our implementations have those key toll gates where we see whether the process improvements that we have done, try to measure what those values are. So we did certain work where we had increased the productivity by 30%, reducing the manual intervention, and then the overall growth in terms of revenue by implementing the omni channels, right? And automating the overall order integrations from a legacy CRM system or a legacy marketing system into the ERP that is there, right? And then also implementing the EDI so that they can get real-time order information and all those things, which resulted in more than 15% revenue growth on that. And one of the point which we have observed is data, right? It's a core strength, but people really underestimate it, and because of that, a lot of issues which has to be diagnosed are like 70% because of the data that is correct. Either the address is wrong, or there are duplicate vendors, or there are duplicate customers. And in most of the project, we try to work on the data integrity. And some of those projects where we have achieved up till 95% of the data integrity. And as I mentioned that we are working with customers to build the clients to build a integration partner ecosystem, right? Where the customers are connected, vendors are connected, the 3PLs, if they're doing the B2B, they are also connected, and the B2C part of it. So these are some of our experiences which has helped where we have helped our customer to translate the qualitative objectives into the quantitative and the measurable objectives based on the implementation. I think
So with that, actually we are towards the end of this presentation. So thank you. We appreciate you joining us today, and we are of course available for the questions. So please feel free to share your questions either through the chat or unmute yourself and ask those questions actually. So we have another like a few more minutes to take some questions. So we're definitely we can definitely take some questions from your side if you have any actually. Thank you. Thanks for attending.
Yeah, so AK, I see one question which you would be able to talk about. So one of the question is, how has Synoptic helped clients in managing the just let me move to the other side. Yeah, so the first question is, how has Synoptic helped clients in managing the ongoing supply chain disruption? Quite an interesting question.
Yeah, so I think the quick response to that is, quick response to that is, so I'll give a specific example. So we work with one of the automotive component supplier actually, or the MRO kind of thing, maintenance, repair and overhaul supplier. And their situation was, they were sourcing components locally, or they were getting remanufactured some of the components locally. And that kind of like, put a constraint on them actually, where the capacities were not available here. So they started exploring different markets, saying that, hey, can we go to say, Europe, some locations in Germany and whatnot, and can we go to other places and get the same components, same components, from elsewhere actually. And then customers said that, hey, if I start sourcing, components, from these different locations, then I need, system capabilities to extend to like a multi-currency. I should be able to see some, like a commodity prices and stuff like that within the system actually, so I can make a decision actually, what is the right time to buy actually. We can monitor some of those. So we looked at some of those capabilities, sometime multi-language actually. There are some invoice formats or order formats, that works within those, boundaries and all that. So we fine-tune some of the technology platform for them actually to extend those capabilities where they can explore these markets, bring those vendors on, do their taxes, like whatever the statutory requirements that they need to meet actually in each of these markets, actually from the accounting and all that perspective. So those are some of the examples I can cite.
Okay, this I can definitely answer. The question is connected ecosystem. How does Synoptic leverage the Microsoft Cloud in connecting to the various 3PLs and partners? So the answer to that is basically the capabilities are there in terms of integration with the third-party 3PLs, right? And with the Azure Cloud, it provides a good communication channel. We have partnership with a lot of the EDIs and also with the integration framework, and we have built that partnership with them, and that helps us in our experience plus our ISV partner experience to implement those things and extend it to the different partners that are there. Third question is very subjective. How much time it takes to implement the complete framework in a manufacturing industry? I would, AK, you can.
Anywhere between like a 3 months to 18 months actually. So there are, see, like we worked with just a supplier actually, which was just doing financials, inventory management, and a supply chain. We quickly stood up a quick system for them in 3 months' time, just to take care of the transactional system actually, and then extend it to the manufacturing later. There are examples where there are proper manufacturers who have a back end, like a shop floor actually, where they do manufacturing. We've done projects in 6 months time frame. There are complex manufacturers who are multi-location, multi-currency, multi-country kind of environment. We are right now in a manufacturing deployment actually. We are talking about 39 country rollouts. That's a 5 years project for us actually, but it can be like depending on the complexity, the locations, the size of business that we're talking about. I think the timeline determines by that actually. Okay, this brings us to the end of it. I don't see any more questions. So thanks all for joining us. It was a really good experience to talk with all of you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you in more education session that we'll be doing in future, actually. Thank you.